Well, I think we'll get started now. So good morning, everybody. And on behalf of the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in the UK, welcome to this morning's webinar, which is actually our last webinar of 2020, today on the topic of employing people from outside the UK post-Brexit, which we're delighted to be holding in partnership with our member, Scornik Gerstein. Scornik Gerstein is a full-service law firm with locations around the globe. They strive to be a firm of first choice for clients seeking legal advice of a high standard from solicitors with extensive experience in common and civil law, and particularly involving cross-border matters. Their Spanish desk specialises in providing comprehensive advice to Spanish clients with legal needs in the UK and English clients who require assistance and representation with the Spanish jurisdiction. So now I'd like to introduce our speaker for today's session. Dancy Naranjo is a Colombian qualified lawyer who joined Scornik Gerstein in 2017 as an associate in charge of the immigration department. Prior to joining Scornik, Dancy started her immigration career as a trainee in a boutique law firm in London. She was quickly promoted to legal assistant, becoming the immigration lawyer of reference within the Latin American community. Dancy is a UK immigration specialist, advising both corporate and private clients on the full range of immigration, nationality and EEA cases. So obviously the session today is very, very pertinent, as we have only a couple of weeks left before the UK really officially leaves the EU for good. There's going to be plenty of time after Dancy has finished her presentation for you to ask any questions, which you can do so using either the chat function or the Q&A function that you'll see at the bottom of your screens there. Please do feel free to write in your questions whenever you wish during the session, but Dancy will answer those at the end. And now, without further ado, Dancy, I will hand over to you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Hannah, for the introduction, and thank you to the Spanish Chamber of Commerce in Great Britain for allowing these spaces for this type of webinars, which you said are very pertinent at the moment. Today I would like to explain to you a bit of how employing people from outside the UK is gonna be after Brexit, when it happens after this 31st of December. Let me see. Oops. Just wait, because okay. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the new points-based system. On 31st of December, as you know, this 31st of December, free movement will end. It means that European nationals are not going to be allowed to move freely from their host country, from their countries to the UK. And from 1st January 2021, non-British citizens, workers arriving in the UK will need to obtain permission in advance. This permission is basically, you can call it a work permit or a visa. It's in the form of a visa that they have to apply previously to come to the UK if they want to work here. Anyone wishing to work in the UK must meet certain specific requirements set out in the immigration rules. There are a whole package of guidance that explain how these applications are going to be and what are the requirements. Some of them are mandatory, some of them are tradable, as they are calling now. But in any event, anyone who wants to come to the UK in order to work, they have to comply with these requirements. From this new point-based system, obviously British citizens are exempt of this or are excluded, and also Irish nationals will be excluded from these rules. What the Home Office have said is that it promises to be a simple and effective and flexible system. And it is not that the UK didn't have any immigration system for people who wanted to come to work before December, because actually this new points-based system started or came into life on 1st of December, so 15 days ago at 9 a.m. So it doesn't mean that the UK didn't have a system in place for hiring people from outside the UK. But in light of the Brexit situation and in light of the end of freedom of movement, decided to make a system that they call more flexible and more simple and more effective. So that's what they are promising. And that's what we are hoping as an immigration practitioners, that's what we are hoping that it is, because before there were very strict rules, and even though it was called a point system as well, the points were static, so there was no flexibility at all in terms of the person complying with the number of points that they needed to achieve in order to get a visa. So okay, as it is, this change came, this new system came because of the end of free of movement. It is important at this point as well to clarify or to understand what is the situation or the status of the citizens already living in the UK. So EU and EA or Swiss citizens, which I call it EU citizens, already living in the UK as of 31st of December 2020 can apply to the EU settlement scheme. The EU settlement scheme is the scheme created by the government in order to register every single EU citizen or EU national that is living in the UK. This scheme opened 2 years ago, and it goes until the 30th of June 2021. It means that any EU citizen living in the UK until 31st December this year are able to apply to this EU settlement scheme. If they have been living in the UK for more than 5 years, they will have the settled status, which is the equivalent to a permanent residence. If they haven't been here for more than 5 years, they will get the pre-settled status with the expectation of getting the settled status or becoming a permanent residence or indefinite leave to remain. To get the status of indefinite leave to remain after completing those 5 years. Up to 30th of November this year, over 4 million EU citizens have applied to this scheme. That's what the statistics of the Home Office are showing at the moment. And people, well, there's only 15 days to come into the UK. Whoever comes, any EU citizen that comes into the UK before 31st of December can apply to this scheme and have the expectation of after finally leaving the EU, the UK leaving the EU, have the expectation of being in the UK and have the status on continuing working here under this this scheme and under the privileges that, let's say, or the rights that are entitled under this scheme. So obviously, if they have this, either the settled status or the pre-settled status, the new point-based system will not apply to them because it comes with a right to work straight away. And in terms of national identification passports and cards, because at the moment, if you are going to hire someone or you have an EU national, an EU citizen working for you, it is enough to show the right to work to show through their passports or national identity cards. It will be accepted, and it can be accepted by employers for work until 30th of June. After that date, they will have to show that they have either the settled status or the pre-settled status. So this is to clarify that the new point-based system that I'm gonna explain to you during this presentation does not apply to EU citizens that are living already in the UK by the end of this year, and obviously that have to apply to the settlement scheme later on. So these national identification passports and cards, it is important because it is part of the right to work checks that employers must carry out if they want to hire someone. So, okay, now into matters, the UK points-based system, as I said before, it doesn't mean that it is called a new points-based system, but it doesn't mean that the UK didn't have one before. It has been rebranded, and it have obviously it has had some changes, big changes in terms of the high value, the skilled worker, and some changes in the students that came into effect in October, 5th of October. So this is basically the general system that is it is currently in the UK. So first we have the high value, which is by the Home Office called the high value. This is previously known as a tier 1. This is an unsponsored route for people who wants to come to the UK. It means that they don't need to have a sponsor, but they do need to have a certain amount of money if they want to come to the UK. So we have in this category, we have the innovator category, the investor category, the global talent, and the startup category. As I said, it doesn't need to have a sponsor. It is a person or people who want to come here. They need to have an idea of a company, an idea of a business. Either they have it as well, they have to be endorsed. This category, some categories of in this tier or this first high value category, they have to have an endorsed, and it depends basically on what they want to come to do to the UK, if they can fit into any of those categories, and if they have as well the certain amount of money that they want to come. The second category was previously known as the tier 2, is the skilled worker route. It has been renamed skilled worker route, and it has suffered so many changes now, which are very important. I'm going to explain in the next slide. So basically in the skilled worker route, previously known as a tier 2, we have the general one, the subcategory general, which is for long-term staff that you want to hire and that they are from overseas. The intra-company transfer, which is the category for multinationals that want to transfer on a temporary basis some of their employees. The sports persons is for elite sport persons or coaches that wants to be based in the UK. And Ministry of Religions, well, the name says so, it's for Ministry of Religions. Then we have the students category that it was previously known as a tier 4 until October, when it was, it suffered some changes. And we have the general one and the child one. The general one for people who want to come here and are over the age of 18. And it's for people who wants to pursue some studies and the degree level, and the child, well, the ones that apply to them. And finally, we have in this point-based system, we have the temporary worker category, which has the creative and sporting, charity workers, religious workers, government authorized exchange, international agreements, and the youth mobility scheme. And we have also the seasonal workers, which is the category that is going to be revised next month, but it's for those workers that come to work up to 6 months in a farm. These temporary workers are for this type of people that want to come to the UK, and the ranges of visas is temporary because, as the name says, is not a long-term one. And also these visas goes from 6 months, which is the seasonal worker who can come to the UK for working in a farm, and up to 2 years for other type, for example, for the youth mobility scheme, which is the scheme or the agreement that the UK have with some countries such as Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, and allow people under certain age to come to the UK and work for 2 years. So this is in general terms, this is how the system looks now. Different names. Some of them have been just the change of name, and some of them have suffered a lot of changes, like the skilled worker route, and which is the one that we are going to focus on. I'm going to focus basically on the general one because it's the most interest. It's the most interest. Is the general route is for long-term, for hiring long-term staff from outside the UK. And the intra-company transfer, I'm gonna try to, it's kind of a short subcategory, if I can use that word. It's a short and simple because it only applies to multinationals that want to transfer. But the general one is the main category in subcategory in this skilled worker route category, because it's the one that is gonna be able for it's going to be available. It's the only route after ending the free of movement of European nationals coming to the UK. It's going to be the only route that employers are going to have if they want to hire someone that doesn't have, that are not British, that are not settled, that don't have a indefinite leave to remain, or any other type of status that allow them to work in the UK. So that's going to be the route that is going to be used. That's the route that is going to be available for them. So, skilled worker route. As I have said, it has it has suffered so many changes, which are very important, and some of them are very welcome. And so, for example, the reduction of the skill level from level 6 to level 3. Previously in the tier 2, and I'm going to make some reference here to comparing to the previous system, just for you to understand what it means for the system now. So reduction of the skill level from the regulated qualifications framework from level 6 to level 3. Before 1st of December, there was a level that you could only hire people if they were at level 6. Level 6 is the equivalent to the degree 1. So it means that was the most qualified person that and it was sold like that, the previous system, the tier 2, that was they wanted the most qualified person to come to work to the UK. So it was at level 6. Obviously, it restricted some jobs and some occupations that because they didn't meet that level. So it has been reduced now, and is now at level 3, which is the equivalent to the A levels in the UK. So this is a significant point for this skilled worker route. Also, another change is that the overall minimum salary has dropped from £30,000 to 25,600 per annum or per year. So it is important as well, because obviously it has dropped. So before in tier 2, you had to guarantee to your candidate that you were going to offer at least £30,000, with some exceptions if there were new entrants or they were other type of exceptions. But basically, in general, £30,000 was the salary that you had to offer before, which was kind of high at that moment. So it has significantly reduced to 25,600. So now, if you want to offer a job, at least that pay rate has to be met. Or also, I'm gonna explain a little bit later, but also the going rate for the specific type of job that is gonna be. But in general terms, this is the salary. Also, which is very, very welcome, and it is for many employers are going to be happy, is the resident labor market test has been abolished. Before in tier 2, if you wanted to hire someone from the UK, outside the UK, you had to show that you everything you could in order to find someone here that was a settled person. By settled person, I mean either it was British citizen, or it was a person with some kind of permanent status in the UK, or even Europeans. So the resident labor market test had to be done. It had to be published in 2 different websites that were enlisted by the Home Office. So you had to put the app up for 28 days. So it was already 28 days that I had to wait in order to hire someone. So it was a long process at the end of the day, and I had to show that the CVs that I received. So I posted the job, I published the job, and then I started receiving. I had to check all the CVs that I received from that job, and I had to, see which candidates could meet, which candidate didn't meet. If anybody meet your requirements and nobody adjusted to the job description that you published, you had to keep the records and show the Home Office that you did that. And that's why you needed to go and look for someone outside of the UK, and that you wanted to hire that person. So that was a very long process that took a lot of time. So it has been abolished, obviously, now, because businesses and companies are not going to have the same the same flexibility or the same way to hire people because Europeans, which is a significant number of people living here, are not going to have the same flexibility or the same right to work here without anything else. So also another big change is that the annual cap on visas is suspended or has been suspended, and sponsors do not need to apply to the monthly home office panel for restricted certificates of sponsorship. Okay, what it means is that before tier 2, if a company wanted to hire, let's say that the company already had a license, it was a sponsor who could sponsor a person coming to work to the UK. If he wanted to apply, if he wanted to hire someone from outside, he had to apply the first 5 days of the month to a panel in the home office in order to request a certificate of sponsorship. Certificate of sponsorship is the document, is an electronic document that an employer requests to the home office and tell them, look, I need this certificate of sponsorship in order to give to a candidate or to a person that I want to hire that is outside of the UK at the moment, and I want to bring it to work with me. So give me that number, please. Before, it had to wait because it was monthly. It was around 20,000, and it varies a little bit every month, but it was around 20,000 per month. So every fifth of up to the fifth of each month, the business or the employer had to apply for this, and on the 11th of each month, they gave you the certificate if you met the requirements and you met the threshold of that. So if there were, let's say, 40,000 applications that month, and the cap was 20,000, they just make some requirements, and whoever met the requirement at the top, the first 20,000, so they were given. So the others were left out, and it was quite inconvenient for companies because they had to delay then and wait for the next month and see if they could get the certificate of sponsorship. So it has been suspended at the moment, and at the moment, how restricted certificates of sponsorship, but that, by the way, has changed the name and now is a defined certificate of sponsorship, can be applied today, and they are targeting to reply or to issue that certificate in 1 day. So let's see if it really works. But this is important because now it says if you need someone, you do the process, you comply with all the requirements. So ask for the certificate of sponsorship, and we will give it to you if you obviously meet the requirements. Also, another big change, and is very welcome, is that it is possible now to switch into the skilled worker route from most of visa categories without having to leave the UK. Before 1st of December, most of the categories and people that were here and applied for a job and they were selected for that job had to leave the country and apply from overseas. Now it has changed. It says that even people that are here under certain categories can switch into the skilled worker route. From this change are excluded, obviously, people that are on visitor visas. Visitor visas do not allow to change into any other category. People that are here on a short-term studies. Don't confuse that one with the general student visa category, because these short study visas are the ones that are most used for English language courses. And as well, from this one are the other restriction that is not allowed to switch to this skilled worker route are also people that are here under a type of visa or type of permit that is called outside the rules. And also there's another change, that is the introduction of tradable points. As I said previously at the beginning, the tier 2, it was called for points, but there was either you meet the points, or you if you didn't, you were out of you lose your chance, you lose your chances of getting the visa. So now I have introduced some tradable points that it depends basically on the salary. We will show a table later, but it will depend basically on the salary and how you can play to get those points, because for this. Okay, now I have said a lot of the general changes, or the main changes of the with this new system that started on the 1st of December. And now is if companies or businesses that need to hire people from outside the UK want to do so, they have to become a sponsor. Getting a sponsor license is a very important process that have to, and there's some steps that must be followed in order to do so. So to apply for a skilled worker license, employers will need to show that the company is a genuine organization, obviously. The company is solvent. Obviously, if you want to hire someone, it's because the company is able to pay the salary and to comply with all the requirements as an employer. The role being offered is a credible vacancy that meets the relevant skill level and appropriate rates of pay. If you see the relevant skill level, it means that this is, as I explained before, is a level, at least level 3, and it pays the rate that is appropriate for that job. The company also, it is important that the company meets immigration compliance duty through HR processes. It means that if a company wants to apply for a sponsorship license under this route, they have to have some HR processes in place, such as do the proper or performs a proper right to work checks, and all what is implied with this. And the company also will act and behave in a way which is conducive to the wider public good. And the employees involved in maintaining and operating the company license are honest, dependable, and reliable. I've always said that even since Tier 2, which started in 2008, that the Home Office is like giving a company the honor of being a sponsor. So it has to be such a good company that needs to comply with everything in order to bring people from outside and hire them from outside. So it's like an honor. You are not entitled to, but it's an honor that the Home Office gives you. It's how I see it sometimes. Okay, so this is basically the process. I have divided in 4 steps, big steps, how to get a sponsor license. I don't know if someone here is already, or the company, some of the people that are here in this webinar are already familiar with the sponsorship license. But if not, well, anyway, I'm going to explain how the process is. So first of all, you have to check if the business is available, actually it's not available, sorry, it's eligible. So sorry for that one, but it's eligible. Obviously the company have to see if they can meet all the requirements is established for this type of sponsorship license. And basically it has a relation with the unspent criminal convictions for the people who is managing the company. And it has to be unspent criminal convictions in terms of immigration, any immigration convictions, and also other type of convictions, such as convictions for fraud or convictions for money laundering. So what they want is to see that the company is free of those criminal convictions, and also that the sponsor license that the company or the business hasn't had a sponsorship license revoked the 12 months prior to apply. So if for any reason a company who previously had a sponsorship license and it was revoked by the Home Office or cancelled by the Home Office, they because they're going to refuse that application. So you have to wait 12 months. And then if you combine now with that, so you can apply and you can expect that if you meet the other requirements, that they're going to grant again the sponsorship license. After you have determined that your business is eligible, you have to choose the type of license. So the type of license obviously is the skilled worker general, that is for workers, and the other one that is for temporary workers. So we are talking about the skilled worker routes when I refer to workers, and the temporary workers, which previously known tier 5, for those that I said seasonal workers or charity workers, in those categories. So this worker route is the one that is going to allow businesses to issue a certificate of sponsorships and bring people to work with them. This certificate of sponsorship, as I said, is an electronic document. It's a number that you have to give to your future employee, and that they have to provide it in the online and the visa application that they are going to do. So this certificate of sponsorship in this workers category is valid for 3 months. So the future employee is gonna be able to use it within 3 months. So he needs to apply for that visa within the 3 months from the date of issue. So after you have choose the type of license that you want to apply for, you have to decide who will be managing the sponsorship. You have, as have mentioned before as well, you need to have some HR processes in place in order to comply with the duties that having a sponsorship license brings with it. So you have to decide, and there are three categories or 3 type of persons that are involved in the management of the sponsorship. Home office, when you get a license, you get access to a system that is called the Sponsorship Management System, SMS, it's called. So these people, or these titles of that is given to people that work for you and that you have decided that they're going to manage the system, is the authorizing officer. And the authorizing officer is usually the person who is in charge of the staff and is in a higher position in the company. It says is the one usually is the one that is in charge of hiring people as well, and is responsible for all the staff. Secondly, we have a key contact, is the person that is going to have to receive emails, that is going to be in contact with the home office in regards to this to the sponsorship license. And then we have a level 1 user, which is a person who has access to the system, who can request as well certificate of sponsorship. Because remember, the main thing of having a sponsorship license is that if you have the sponsorship license, you can request certificates of sponsorships, which are going to be given later for the application of your prospect employee. So all these are 3 roles that are established in the guidance. These 3 roles can be in one person. So if the authorizing officers can be the key contact, that can be the level user 1. There are some requirements as well, and there are some checks that are carried out when you make your application and you decide, okay, this person in my staff is the one who's going to be the key contact, this one is going to level 1 user. They are checked as well, and they don't want to see that they have unspent criminal convictions, and they want to see that they are like a good character for them. But they run checks all over the person that is going to be managing the system. And so in key contact has to be usually a person who is resident. Usually no, it's a resident most of the time in the UK. And also, this is where legal representatives can play a role as well. We can either be a key contact or level 1 user. We cannot be the authorizing officer because it has to be someone that is employed directly by the company. So after you decide this, obviously there are more requirements and more stuff that you have to take into account, but usually this is, in general terms, this is how it works for the people that is gonna be managing the system. And also, well, after that, after you have checked that your business is eligible, after you have said, okay, I'm gonna apply for the worker license, I have decided, I have checked in my company, I have reviewed everything, and I think this and this person are gonna be in charge of the system once the license is granted. Then you're ready to apply online. Obviously, to get to the application online, you have also to provide some documents, which we are gonna see later, and you have to apply online and pay the fee. It comes with a fee. The fee depends on the size of the company. And if it is a small or charitable company, it's gonna be £536. And if it's a medium or large sponsors, medium or large company, sorry, it's gonna be £1,476. Yeah, basically it's in terms. I was looking for some information here, but it's okay. Yeah, it depends on that. So after you have selected the type of okay, something that I'm gonna clarify here for the workers license, type of license, there are as well like two subcategories in this worker route, which are basically the skilled worker route and the intra-company transfer. So once you decide what type of visa you want, if you want to go for the worker route, you have to decide if you want to be the skilled worker route or the intra-company transfers. As I said before as well, intra-company transfer is for multinationals or companies that have presence in other countries and they want to transfer people to the UK on a temporary basis. It's worth noting that this category doesn't allow people or workers to have the expectation of settling in the UK. Settling means that after certain time under that visa category, they can become they can obtain indefinite leave to remain or become permanent residents. This intra-company transfers does not allow that chance. Whereas the skilled worker, yes, obviously, after 5 years, usually after 5 years of being in the UK under that category, they can apply for indefinite leave to remain and they become permanent residents and be settled in the UK. So the type of license under the worker route is the skilled worker route. It means that the role or the job that you are going to offer must meet the job suitability requirements. You have to be at the skill level again, or either the from the three level, which is the RQF level 3, and also the skill in relation to the skill level, and the occupation must be an eligible one. There is an appendix. This is the appendix E, which has a long list of occupations. So once you have decided that you want to bring someone from the outside and that you have a vacancy, you fit that vacancy or that job or that role into the one that is eligible, that one occupation and one code that is eligible, and this list is in this one. I'm gonna see if I'm able to connect here. I'm gonna go back. Yeah, so here. So we have the immigration rules appendix skilled occupations, which is the eligible occupation codes and going rates for skilled workers and intra-company transfers. So you have a vacancy, you have to go to this list and see if the job that you have definitely fit one of the occupations that we have here. You have to make note of the code. This is occupation code. This is here. It's a number basically, because later you're gonna use it. You're gonna need it for your application, and explaining why you need to hire that person, what's the job title that you are gonna have. So even they have, for example, let's take only the first one. It's an occupation code is 1115. It's a chief executives and senior officials. It actually gives you as well a related job titles. So if you have a vacancy that can be fit in those titles, even you can call it whatever you want, but if you see that the description matches, so you can use that code, and they're gonna give you as well a going rate, which is the salary, and then all categories that you can use tradable. I'm not gonna get into that because this is another matter, but at least you have to fit the vacancy that you have. You have to fit it in one of these. There's plenty in one of these occupation codes. So this is very important because that's gonna show that you have a that's gonna mean that you can sponsor that person. If it doesn't fit here, you cannot sponsor it. If you see but then that's when the job description becomes very important, and the title and everything that you're gonna give for that role. Okay. Okay, so yeah, this is in relation to the skilled worker type of a license that you are going to request, and in when it comes to the intra-company transfer, if you have an overseas company that you want to bring someone here for doing a role or for a specific job, it is important that that person that you are gonna bring is gonna had already worked for you for at least 12 months, and the salary that you are gonna guarantee is £41,500. For the intercompany transfer, it's important that the skill level is a level 6. So it is maintained at level 6, a graduate level. So it is not that I'm gonna bring someone, I don't know, let's say for general services just to come here. So usually it is used for people that are in high levels jobs. There's also between in the intercompany transfer, there's also a subcategory, the intercompany graduate trainee. So this is for companies that have in-house, they have implemented a graduate trainee program. So, and they want to bring someone to just within that scheme. For them, the period that they have been working for the company is only 3 months for the overseas company, and the salary is as well £23,000 only. All those salaries are per year. Yeah. It is possible that a company that is based in the UK and that apply for the sponsorship license is can have both. So it doesn't mean they're not exclude each other. Actually, they can have both. They can have the type of license for a skilled worker, and they can have the type of license for intracompany transfer. The intracompany transfer have these requirements, and they don't have to meet, for example, with the English language requirements, so they can bring the person just to work here. And yeah, a company can have both both type of licenses if they wish so. Okay, now coming to the process of a sponsorship license. It is an online process, as I said. It's an online application. The company must submit certain numbers of documents to demonstrate that the organization is genuine and trading in the UK. Examples of those supporting documents are, for example, corporate bank statements, employer's liability insurance certificate, for example, as well a proof of the premises, and VAT certificates. So all those documents, that means that the company exists, the company is trading at the moment, and they and have been going on well in the market. These supporting documents must be sent within 5 working days on the online form being submitted. There is a specific appendix that explains or that gives you the list of documents, and the list of documents will depend also of the type of company that you are. If you are a startup, it means that you have been trading for less than 18 months. There's a type of documents and another requirements that you have to meet. If the company has been trading for more than 18 months, which is the general that I've been saying here, well, basically, it's those type of documents must be submitted. Depend as well on the type of company that you are. There are some documents that are mandatory. For example, if the company requires specific regulations, for example, with the FCE, you have to show the certificates. Or for example, if it's a law firm, well, that they are actually registered with the SRA. Or the law society, all those documents that show that they are complying with the rules here in order to be trading. Those supporting documents is now before 1st of December, when this new system came in place. Documents had to be sent original and by post. Obviously, when COVID started, well, that was it suffered another change, but it was temporal. Now it has been made like the way to do it is by email. So you have 5 days after you submit your application and you pay your fee. You have 5 days to send your documents via email and to the home office. So you have those 5 working days. As I said, documents are specified in Appendix A. So if you are thinking of applying for a sponsor license, there are a lot of appendices and guidances that you have to read. The guidance for employers, just to give you an idea, is 246 pages, and which says everything. So take this as a very brief introductions to the system. And the specified documents are in Appendix A. To the sponsor guidance. Also, the organization is required to provide some general information related to the organization. Again, it is established in Appendix A, so you have to explain why you want to hire someone you want to hire someone from overseas. You have to say, for example, what are you working hours during the week? What type of information there is there? Why you want to hire someone. If you have someone specific, you have to provide all the details of that person. If the person has been working already, is already working for you, for example, let's say because he's a student here and he's allowed to work 20 hours. So you can explain that as well, and you have to explain that as well. Okay, after you have all your documents and you have submitted your application, you have sent your documents, you can expect up to 16 weeks for hearing back from them. But it's generally, it takes for a decision to come between 4 and 8 weeks. I would say more 8 weeks. It is like the standard time for them to decide over the application. Once you have submitted your application, you can expect as well to have a compliance visit. Compliance visit is as the name says, is a visit that the Home Office or the UKVI pays you, and they in advance they will let you know that they want to visit your premises. They want to see how you comply with all the requirements and if you are ready for becoming a sponsor. So during this visit, they check the records that you keep from your employers. They can interview employers. For example, in my company, when we were doing our process, we had that visit. It was the officer just came to our office she checked everything. She checked how the HR had the documents from the migrant workers. At that time, I was under a family visa here, so I was interviewed actually. I was asked if they pay me on time. I was asked if I signed a contract, if I had the contract, if they provide me with the pay slips, P60s, and actually she took notes and she made me sign a document of the information that I gave her. I remember she sat with my boss for probably an hour and a half, just checking, and see that it is a genuine company. It is a company that that they have done before. Can expect that they can carry out with all the duties that that having a sponsorship license implies. So you can expect that from the Home Office during the time that they are considering the application. And if they don't do so, they can do it if they grant the visa without doing a compliance visit, you can expect them to do it during the validity of the license. So license is granted for a period of 4 years. During those four years, it is you can expect that they pay you a visit and they do that compliance visit. So yeah, this is in regards to the process for obtaining a sponsorship license. So when a company obtains a sponsorship license, it is ready for issuing a certificate of sponsorships in order to give to the prospect employee for them to use at the same time, for them to use for the visa application, which will allow them to, if it's granted that visa application, that visa that they applied for, if it's granted, well, they can start working for you. Okay, so let's say that a company already obtained the visa, already issued the certificate of sponsorship, and now they are given that certificate of sponsorship to the employee or the prospect employee. The employee now is ready for applying for that visa. That visa is for the individual. That visa means that if he wants to obtain it or to get it, they must obtain 70 points. Those 70 points are earned through a mandatory requirement. So the person must meet some requirements that is a must. I mean, it's not tradeable. And it is related to the offer of a job by an approved sponsor. That's where the certificate of sponsorship comes to play their role. Because if he has a certificate of sponsorship, it means that you already are an approved sponsor. So by having that, it's already 20 points. The job at an appropriate skill level is 20 points. Sorry. So it means that the code that you use is the one that is at appropriate skill level on the list that is in Appendix A that we saw before. And also that this prospect employee has a good language skill at level B1. So it has to show that he can he has that, the person has that level, and it is shown either by taking a test in approved test center, which is again published by the Home Office in a list of secure centers that they can apply for. Also, if the person has for example, has a degree that was taught in English, or it was that has a diploma from a degree course here from the UK university, they can use that as well to meet that requirement. Or if it's a person, for example, from the United States and he has a passport, well, he meets the requirements showing that he is a national of that country. So that means that from the mandatory points, the person is going to get 50 points. And then this is the introduction of the tradable points. And the tradable points are basically related to salary. If it depends, if it means the general minimum gross annual threshold, which is the 25,600, or by trading points. If it means the general minimum gross of 25,600, it means that the person has the other points, yeah? So it can complete the 70 points. If not, they buy trading points where the salary is less than the minimum salary threshold, but at least you have to guarantee 20,480 pounds. And then there is a list that explains everything in that respect. Also, another point that you can earn in order to complete your 70 points, if the role is on the specified short list occupation, short-age occupation list. There are some specific occupations in the UK that they have considered that if being on the short-age occupation list. So, for example, I think mechanical engineers are considered short-list occupation. It's short-age occupation. So, if a person has that and is coming to work that, they can use that to earn points as well. Also, another tradable thing or points that can be earned is if the individual holds a PhD in a subject relevant to the role. This has to be explained why the PhD is a subject relevant to the role. I mean, if the applicant or the prospect employee has a PhD but has nothing to do with the role that you are offering, you cannot use it. And on another way of earning points is the applicant is considered a new entrant. Okay. Okay, let's say that you applied for your sponsorship license. The sponsorship license was granted. You issued a certificate of sponsorship to your candidate, to your future employee, and this person applies for the visa. This person, let's say, got all the 70 points, and the visa is he's ready then to apply. He applies. This is an online application, and something that is introduced here as well for this process is that from 1st of January 2021, if you want to hire European nationals, obviously you need to do all this process. But for European nationals, the process of applying for the actual visa is gonna be a straightforward process. What they have said is there's gonna be an app where they can apply from. And also the visa or the permit is gonna be electronic one. So how it works now for let's say it's not an European national, it's a person from overseas. They apply, they have to go to they have applied online, they have to go to the visa application center, which is open in their country where they're applying from or they reside. If they have to give the biometric information. Biometric information is taking the fingerprints and a picture of their face, and they have to submit the documents, and they have to submit as well the original passport. And then they receive a stamp on their passport, a vignette on their passport, allowing which is going to allow them to come to the UK. Once in the UK, that permit is only a temporary one and is given for 30 days. These 30 days, you have 30 days to enter to the UK, and once in the UK, you can receive a biometric card. This is what is for nationals of overseas countries. I'm not talking about the EU nationals, because what they have said is from 1st December they can apply online, they can apply through an app, and they can and the answer is going to be an electronic answer. So this is going to be important for the right to work checks that are going to be that has to be done after that, because there's another type of document that is going to be valid for those, and it is related to an electronic document for EU nationals that are applying under this system. So, okay, let's say that we already passed all that process, and we are just right at the end, and finally our worker can apply for the visa, and hopefully is gonna get the visa, and finally is gonna come to work for us. So we are gonna talk about the cost of that visa, and the cost of that visa is and the whole process, beginning from the application, which we already saw. If it's a small company, the sponsorship license is gonna cost £536, and if it's a medium large company, the only way, well, since applying, I mean, is gonna cost as well more than £1,000. So a company has already spent that money on getting the application. Now we are gonna see how from the starting point of issuing a certificate of sponsorship, how much is gonna cost a company to bring someone or to hire someone through this system. So if the cost is gonna depend on the fact that how long or for how long a company is gonna issue a certificate of sponsorship. So you can either issue a certificate of sponsorship for over 3 years or for less than 3 years. That's the two cost different. The difference in cost is gonna depend on that. So certificate of sponsorship is the same cost for any type of application. So certificate of sponsorship is £199. So you've got your a company has the license, the sponsorship license, has applied for a certificate of sponsorship. So the person that you have decided that is going to manage the system has made a request for a certificate of sponsorship. Let's say that you're bringing someone from outside, and so he the person that you decided was going to manage the system has requested a defined certificate of sponsorship, which is the one that is going to be needed by someone that lives outside the UK and is going to come to work. And he has paid £1,099 for that certificate of sponsorship. After that, they have to pay as well the immigration skills charge. The immigration skills charge is a charge that has to be paid by the company, has to be paid in one go at the moment of requesting the certificate of sponsorship. So let's say that in this chart that I've got on the left, application visa with a certificate of sponsorship for over 3 years. So you start in paying a certificate of sponsorship for £1,099. Let's say £199. Let's say that the immigration skill charge, I have requested one certificate of sponsorship for 5 years. So I have to multiply this 1,000 per year for the 5 years of the visa, the duration of the visa that my future employee is going to request. Then I have to pay my UK VI application fee. If I'm out of the UK, I have to pay this amount, 1,220. And if I'm in the UK, because I'm in that category that I'm allowed to switch within the UK, so I have to pay another amount. And then the immigration health surcharge, which is £624 per year. This immigration health surcharge is the one that everyone who wants to come into the UK for more than 6 months has to pay, and it is in relation to the use of the NHS system. So at the end of the day, after applying, after doing all the process, you have to pay for an employee for a total, if he's going to apply from outside the UK with a certificate of a sponsorship, which is over 3 years, and I have used, for the example, I have used the maximum, which is 5 years. A total, if he's applying from overseas, is a total of £9,539. And if it's within the UK, it's £9,727. And I did the same exercise with the application visa with a post for 3 years or less. I did it for 3 years, but you can apply for 1 year, for 2 years. It's up to you how much you want to give the certificate of sponsorship for. So yeah, at the end the total is the same cost. I mean the same items you have to pay. It's gonna vary obviously because it's for less time. So yeah, it's at the end of the day, in this, if it's out of the UK, the application is made out of the UK, it's £5,681, and if it's within the UK, it's £5,775. So as you see, it's an expensive route. So businesses must be ready for this, and if they think they are gonna need to sponsor workers from overseas, including EU nationals from 1st of January 2021. So they have to take it, into consideration and put it into the budgets if they are planning to do so, because that's the cost that is gonna be. And also, if the employee is gonna bring dependents with them, so dependents such as spouse or children under 18 years old. So this is a sum. It's gonna sum up. The only the cost, the UK VI application fee is gonna apply to the dependents as well, and the immigration health surcharge as well is gonna apply for them. So let's say if you have an employee which is top, and you haven't found anyone, which happens, it's very common that happens, and it's from Brazil, and you want to bring them, or even if it's a European national, if you want to bring them for the first time here, that European national, because he doesn't have any settled or pre-settled status under the settlement scheme. So you have to go through this one, and if they have family, so it starts summing up. So our advice now is get ready, start planning. If you think that you're gonna need people to hire people from overseas, start planning your next year, and see on the future years, because that's going to stay with us. That's not going to change. And usually this cost of specifically the UK VI application fees, they usually increase every April. They haven't this year, and they haven't suffered any change because all the things that are happening at the moment. So I don't think they want to be in that position of increasing when the economy is not actually that good for businesses and companies, and with the Brexit just around the corner. So yeah, this is in regards to the skilled work route. Well, let's say that we have finished, our person is here and has started to work. What I need to do next, and I'm sure if people that are with us at this moment, connected with us, if they work in a company, if they are part of HR, the HR department, they are familiar, and actually every company are familiar with the right to work checks. The right to work check will provide you with a statutory excuse against a civil penalty in the event of illegal working involving the subject of the check. It means that if a company has performed a right to work checks in a proper way, in how it is established in the guidance and regulations, they can be excused. It can be excused if in the event of that person wasn't allowed to work at that time. But if you don't do that, and if you assume that the person has the right to work, and you just forget to do so, or just don't do it properly, it can cost a company a civil penalty up to £20,000 for illegal working. Right to work checks could be manual or online. manual basically is obtain the original versions of one or more acceptable documents such as passports or a biometric residence card or biometric residence permits. That's the first thing that you have to do, or a company has to do. Secondly, they have to check that the document's validity in the presence of the holder. So you have to check that the picture matches with the person that you have in front. That if you have a passport and a biometric residence permit or biometric residence card, that the names matches and the date of birth matches as well. That they refer to the same person, that this is within the validity of the biometric card, because I can have a biometric card, but if it's expired, well, I don't have nothing, basically. And as a third step that you have to do when you carry out the right to work checks is you have to make a copy and retain a clear copy and record the date the check was made. So you have to sign it, and what we have to do as well as made the person to sign it. That's what we used to do. And do you remember when I said that during the application of a sponsorship license, there is you can expect, or a company can expect, a compliance visit. This is what they see. This is if you have carried out with the people that you have, even if they are British, even if they are any nationality, with the people that you have, you have performed a right to work checks, and they request every single document. They request a folder or a file for each employee. So where they have when did you take this copy? Have you followed up? If for example the right to work, the biometric card had an expiry date, did you follow up? How did you follow up? I remember, I think they ask if they have our person which manages the HR processes in our company, if they had reminders in their calendar when to check, for example, the permits that were about to expire or near the date. So all of that, these right to work checks are very important, because if you want to apply for a sponsorship license, a company wants to apply for a sponsorship license, they have to show that they have performed this very well. So this is how the manual works, and the online one is they use the Home Office online right to work checking service, which is in the website of it's a website, government website, and these online checks are gonna be very important from 1st of January, because as I mentioned before, the visas or permits to work in the UK for EU nationals that comes under this skilled worker route are gonna be electronic. So they're not gonna have actually a physical document, but they're gonna have, which I imagine is a code. So they have to share that with you, and you have to check it. So that's very important for what it comes next year when hiring EU nationals. So you have to check that any photograph on the right to work check is of the individual presenting themselves for work. And you have to retain a clear copy of the response provided by the online right to work check. So it's gonna come with a positive notification that the person that you have in front and that you have as a candidate for your work, for your job, it has applied. Okay, as COVID, we couldn't end without mentioning COVID-19. It has had impact in every single thing of our lives. Obviously for right to work checks as well, specifically for the manual one, because of the social distancing and working from homes and all the stuff, that how life has changed, it has changed as well. So there are some measures that are in place since March 30th, 2020. So checks can now be carried out over video calls like this. So you have to biometric card, and you put this, and you have to record the video call, and you have to check that the person is actually the same person that is on the document that is showing. Job applicants and existing workers can send scanned documents or photo documents for checks using email or mobile app rather than sending originals. Employers should use the employer check-in service if a prospective or existing employee cannot provide any of the accepted documents. So it happens, for example, for people who are who have a pending application with the Home Office. Some of them they issued a certificate of application. Some of those certificate of applications are contains the right to work. So if you are presented with that type of documents, you have to contact the employer check-in service or use the employer check-in service, and even contact the Home Office as well, just to confirm. And so this is what works now, and up to today is still valid. So because these measures are still in place. So when these measures end, retrospective checks must be carried out on existing employees who started working during these measures. So let's say that you have hired someone during this time, and you carried out the right to work checks over a video call. Once this ends, which Home Office is going to give you plenty of give you notice about when it is going to end, then you have to carry out all the normal ones, let's say the normal right to work checks, and this is once the Home Office notifies that these COVID measures, which are temporal, are about to finish. Once they finish, you have 8 weeks to do the proper right to work checks. This is important that you do that, because again, this is if you don't have an excuse, an statutory excuse against a future civil penalty in case that person was an illegal worker. So this is this is the end of our presentation. Now I think we are open for questions. My last thing to say, if a company, if you work for a company that think are gonna be in need of people from outside the UK, to recruit people from outside the UK, and you don't have a license, start applying for a license now if you want, or start working on that in order to apply for that license, and have it, and start organizing your processes. If you already have one, this is something very important. If a company already have which was known as a tier 2 sponsorship license, it has automatically updated to a skilled worker license. Depends on which one you have. Obviously, you had before, so now they have changed into either the skilled worker or the intra-company transfer. It was automatic, so you don't need to do anything. Just keep complying with all the duties for that. But the way, however, that the company that already have a license, the way of requesting certificate of sponsorship in order to give to your future overseas employees have changed, just names and the process as well. So it's more expedite now. So thank you very much. This is the end of the presentation. We are going to be open for some questions if you have some, and if you have any doubt as well of what I have said. I hope it has been clear. It's a lot of information. I have tried to bring something very general for this. Obviously, there are a lot of guidance there, the documents that have been published by the Home Office. There is for employers, there's a guidance of 246 pages that talks about this matter. and yeah, so no, we are here to help as well. And Hannah, over to you.
Thank you, Dancy. We don't have much time left because we've overrun quite a lot. So what I'm going to say
so
is,
sorry. Oh,
it's
you should
okay.
have told me.
So what we're going to do is, those of you who've answered questions, we can answer those now, and I'll read those out. And then everyone else, Dancy, if you want to go ahead to the next slide, then everyone else, if you'd like to ask a question to Dancy, she'll have her email address on the screen there.
Okay.
But we've just got a little bit of time left, so we can. So let's go for some of these questions that we've got here. So, will the degrees of university studies from EU countries be recognised in the UK from next year, or will something need to be done about that?
But the question is recognized.
Yeah, like, so degrees from European universities, will they still be recognised in the UK next year?
Yeah, I mean, for an application, for a job application, they're gonna be recognized as overseas degrees are recognized. It depends. Actually, when we are talking about this type of level that is required, the skill level that is required for a sponsor someone, we are not talking about actually about a diploma or a title, but we are talking about the skills that that person can perform. So yeah, I mean, if the job description that a company has published says that the person needs to have a, let's say, I don't know, at a mechanical engineer, it can be an equivalent of the mechanical engineer here, equivalent in another country. But it is related to the job description, but it's not related to the skill level. If I don't know, I don't know if that's clear. I know that before some up to now some professions are, or some diplomas are valid in the UK because of the EU regulations. But he will, if the person will need to check that if he wants to make it valid here as well.
Okay, thanks, Dancy. Another question is, will we be able to bring EU youths to do internships for 3 or 6 months in companies in the UK while they get paid from institutions in their home countries? For example, companies here, so that companies here won't have to pay anything. Will they have to go down the visa path, or is there any way that they can stay for the 3 months and do their internship without any visa?
Well, this is a good question, because after 31st of December, EU nationals are allowed to come to the UK only for 6 months under visit visas. So they will need to find a way to do either temporary work to maybe fit that into a probably one of the categories of temporary work. If it's there are some in the category of visitor visa, there are some restricted activities that they can do. But let me check that later for persons, because I know some Erasmus from Spain. There's very common some Erasmus people that can come from there and do some experience work and that. But I will check that, and I will reply that by email, if you don't mind.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. Another question is, what if a person is hired and contracted by a UK company, but the new joiner has a possibility of working remotely from Spain, for example? Would that be possible? Or is there a new law in progress, or maybe now in place, that affects this way of working? And for example, what implications would that have on tax?
On tax, well, again, I will have to check, because that tax part is it's very important with the UK, and which is now I mean, tax related. It's a tax related questions, and I would like to give it specifically by writing, if you don't mind, because there's some implications there that I don't want to get into much detail. It will take me a lot.
Okay, no worries about that. Another question is, how long in total do you think that the the process would take going from the certificate of service all the way through to the visa?
The certificate of once a company has a license and they issue the certificate of sponsorship, the certificate of sponsorship must be used within 3 months of the date of issue. So they have 3 months to use it. So let's say they issue the certificate of sponsorship today. They have 3 months. The person apply, and it depends on where they are applying from. The application process can take up to 15 days from overseas, but with COVID things, they are taking longer at the moment. They are taking longer. So you are expected to hear from them probably at around 8 weeks. Once you make the online application for a visa, and once you get your appointment, don't forget, if you are from overseas and you get your appointment for biometric information, they will it will take after that appointment, it will take around they said 15 days, but it's not taking that. It takes a little bit more. So yeah, in total, after the issue of the certificate of application, you can apply straight away for your visa, and the times will depend on how quick you can get a biometric appointment, because usually visa centers are really busy, and now with this COVID thing going on, they restrict the number of appointments that they release. Yeah, so it can take a couple of months, I would say.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, the last question that we'll have time to answer now is, will the documents, so for example, qualification certificates and things that a candidate hands to the sponsor, will they have to be translated into English?
If they're not in English, yes.
Okay, brilliant. Cool. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you very much, Dancy. I really encourage everybody. I know this topic is, there's so many questions, I'm sure, and doubts that a lot of people have. Please do get in touch with Dancy via the email address on the screen to find out more about to find out the answers, and also just to hear more about the services that Scornik can offer. But yeah, that was an incredibly useful and very, very detailed presentation. So thank you so much, Dancy, for laying it all out so clearly for us.
Thank you everyone for joining us as well. And yeah, I will try to reply the questions that you have.
Brilliant, thank you. And yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. We have one last event tomorrow morning, our final Melia Business Breakfast of the year, which we're holding online at 9 AM. And other than that, yeah, we look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Thank you very much, Dancy. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.